Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What's the one conversation that you're avoiding right now? And what's it costing you? Welcome to Authentic Achievements, because here's the reality. Leadership isn't lost in the big moments. It's lost in the conversations we avoid, the feedback we soften, the tension we ignore, the truth we don't say. And today, we're going there. I'm going to be joined very shortly by the fabulous Susanne Biro. She's a leadership expert, executive coach, author, and someone who helps leaders cut through the noise, confusion, and fear to create real clarity and impact. So, Susanne, welcome.
Kim, thanks for having me.
I'm so looking forward to this conversation, as I did with our last one. But that is really kind of the killer question, isn't it? What is the conversation we're avoiding, and what is it costing you? And I know that's something that you see a lot in the work you do. Can you share your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I think you started it beautifully. When I ask executive groups, is there a conversation that you need to have, but you have yet to have it? Almost every hand will raise. So we know there are things that we need to say, want to say, and yet we hold back. And it hold back out of all kinds of fears, and some of them really relevant and important. But I think the journey is learning to pay more attention to all the information we are getting inside of ourselves, learning to listen to that. Like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I wanting? What will serve the business? And listening more to that, and then taking some brave actions toward that, to have that conversation, to take that action, and then to see to what extent do we need to listen to and trust ourselves more fully.
I love that. It's so true. But I guess that can be quite hard, can't it? Going in and listening to ourselves, because we're so busy trying to respond to whatever's going on around us. Would that be fair?
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now we have more information coming at each of us than we've ever had before. So yes, taking time to really pay attention to what is happening inside of me. And so one of the things, you and I talked about it before. I just wrote a book called This Could Be Everything. One of the tools I first offer is what I call the self-inquiry tool, SIT for short. Really, it's just a moment to take a pause to go, what's happening inside of me? Something happens, my spouse forgets that it's garbage day, or I'm in a board meeting and someone says something, slightly off color, and instantaneously something happens inside of me and I want to pay attention. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Based on my thoughts and my feelings, what am I likely to do? And what impact will that likely have? What's going to be the result in the real world? And so what we can do, how we can start to really pay attention to ourselves, is to take something that goes either exceptionally well or really not well at all. And again, it can be personal or professional. Some conversation perhaps that didn't go as well as you wanted, or one that went really well. And then you just debrief it with yourself. What was the situation? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Based on my thoughts and my feelings, what did I choose to do or not do? And what impact did that have? And if we start to pay attention to ourselves and learn about ourselves, which is, all leadership development is self-development, we will start to learn our own habits of thoughts and very predictable ways of interacting and reacting to the world. And we want to know that. It's like, know thyself. When something happens, how do I typically respond? And is that the most useful way that I want to respond? Or are there other possibilities for me? And the sit tool just slows it down. We can do it in hindsight, or we can even start to do it right in the moment. You're in the board meeting and you notice something, is said that all of a sudden you're distracted by it. What am I thinking? You might even jot it down for yourself. What did I just say to myself about what's happening? What am I feeling? What is this feeling? Is it concern? Is it, disappointment? What is the feeling? And that's how we can start to learn about ourselves. And we really want to learn about our typical way of thinking and feeling, because it leads to what we choose to do out in the world, and it leads to all of our results, like every result, personally or professionally. And so that is the work. So it takes some intention. But if we do just a little bit over time, we then come to really know ourselves. And we go, oh, there's that thing again. If someone said something and I just went to the story of, I always get screwed over. That's an interesting thought. When I had the thought that I'm getting screwed over, how do I feel? Feel resentful. I feel mad. How do I then behave? And what's the impact of that behavior? Probably not very good. So then we can back up and go, what's the result I'm looking for? Like a great relationship. I want to win the business. I want to get my point heard. Okay, how am I going to need to behave then? And then based on that, how am I going to need to think and feel? Now, I know I've said a lot right there.
Well, there's so much I'd like us to go into and unpack from that, because you have said so much, and it's all really, really interesting, because our brain, we think we're logical, rational human beings, but the reality is scientifically proven our emotional brain responds first. Yeah. So actually taking that moment to slow it down and be intentional so that we can define the feeling from the thought is really crucial, isn't it? So how do people learn to start doing
that? To do this work. I wish there was an easier answer. But we all have to do our own sit-ups. Like, you want six-pack abs, you got to do the work. You got to eat impeccably, and you got to do the work. And the same is true with our minds. I think what most of us are looking for, whether we can express it or not, is the ability to control ourselves, like a level of self-mastery where we can go out into the world and be who we want and intend to be, and lead in the way that I know most leaders really desire to lead. They want to be well thought of. They want to lead people well. They want to inspire other people. But the pressure of the role is enormous. And so without any awareness or intention of who we're going to be as we walk into that board meeting or we walk into that conversation, if we're not intentional, the stress of the moment can bring out the worst in any one of us. So the work really is to start to really learn how you're thinking, because your thoughts will determine everything. And so another really simple thing that listeners can take away is when you are either feeling, again, really good or really bothered by something, take out a piece of paper and just write down, what have I been thinking? And write as many thoughts as you possibly can. And you will see right on paper staring back at you why you are feeling the way you are, either very excited or very bothered by something. And then you can look at that piece of paper and go, oh, that's interesting. If I handed those collection of thoughts to any other human being, they would likely feel the way I'm feeling. Like, that's what I'm consuming right now in my internal world. Is that what I want to continue to consume? Is that what I want to pay attention to? Or is there another way entirely that I could choose to think? Then you might tear out another piece of paper and write down, how would someone I really admire be thinking right now about this exact same situation? Or what's a way that I could think, not that I can get there right now, but that is a possibility. And that's a way that you start to play with where you focus your internal attention. Because I think so many of us take our thoughts as us. and we fail to question them. So one of the first big ideas I have in the book is, there are you and there are your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You can watch them.
That's really hit home for that part that says our thoughts are not us, because we do often muddle that up, don't we? I'm thinking it, therefore it must be me. And yet I know with my little girl, I'm constantly telling her, like, your thoughts and your actions are things you did. You are separate to those. You have the opposite is also available to you. You make a choice that doesn't serve you, you can make a different choice. And the same it is true, isn't it? If the thought isn't serving us, we can choose to think something differently, but we have to be intentional. And I think that is, for me, one of the most crucial parts of kind of the conversation we're having is, as you so eloquently put earlier, you have to do your own sit-ups. No one can do it for you. You've got to go and sit with your thoughts, your actions, your feelings. But once you do that, you can really bring home the clarity, because I think that's the piece that we're really searching for, isn't it? Is clarity. Once we get clear, we're able to step in and own it. But what holds us back often is that lack of clarity. But what do you think is the real cost of avoiding that clarity as a leader?
Well, I think without knowing ourselves in the way that we've just been discussing, life is very chaotic, confusing, relationships are disappointing and frustrating. And we don't get the results, or we can't get consistent results with and through people, which is nothing other than leadership. Leadership is, the ability to work exceptionally well with and through other people, both at work and at home, because we work with and through other people to maintain a life and a family. And so it's just, if we don't do this work, all of life is not as enjoyable or rewarding or successful in any capacity. When we do this work, we are clear, then we understand what is happening, because we understand first and foremost what is happening within us. And, this idea that, I'm not my thoughts, I think is a really big one. It's the first thing that I want to try to create in the clients. It's the first big idea in the book is, because if you can create the thought and almost watch your thoughts, now you have time to play around and go, oh, interesting. I don't have to take, I have to believe every thought I think. I don't have to take all my thoughts so seriously, believe all these stories I tell myself. There's just a bit more area to move around and a little bit more levity and lightness. And we do this in some facets right now, every one of us. And I'll give you an example that's in the book is, we all have had the experience of being cut off in traffic. So someone cuts us off. And, I know for me, sometimes my first thought is that jerk. And I'm mad right away. And I think, wow, where did all that anger come from? I was just having a good day a second ago. But that must have existed inside of me for something so simple to pull it out. Because there's other days where I'm driving, someone cuts me off. And we've all had this experience as well, which is, whoa, that person must be in a hurry. There must be an emergency. I hope they're okay. Thank goodness that's not me. Let me move aside. Same situation, but two entirely different ways to think about it. Instantaneously, this occurs. Then we have feelings either mad, rage, upset, or concern and gratitude. Now, which one are we going to choose? We can choose it, and I think it's our responsibility to choose it, because my experience, and I've literally worked with thousands of some of the most successful leaders over the last 25 years, is life and leadership offers only problems. I mean, like adult life is just, a lot of things to handle personally and professionally, and leadership is daunting, overwhelming, exhausting, often thankless. There's just one big problem after another that lands on your desk that no one else seems to be able to solve. That's why you're the leader. And so if you're looking for any kind of reward in life and leadership, it can't come externally. It needs to come internally. And so what each of us chooses to focus on internally and feed ourselves with matter so that when something happens, like the person cuts you off in traffic, or a deal goes sideways, or you lose a major, a key talent in your organization, how you choose to respond can be highly effective. But it won't be highly effective if you've just rehearsed anger and frustration endlessly, which is very easy to do. I think it's our natural default. So this is the work of all leadership development, is what am I choosing to focus on internally? Because I will create that out in the external world. It can't be any other way.
That's so true. So it's making me smile about the kind of being cut up in traffic, because I hadn't realised until your children play things back, don't they? That I clearly have a phrase, when somebody cuts me up and I'm not feeling my most generous, gracious, and wanting to say, they must be in a hurry and I hope everything's okay, which I do say often. I will say, wow, they're a genius, aren't they? I didn't realise until Scarlett started going, Mummy, they're being a genius, when she sees people doing something that they're not supposed to do. It's like, okay, I probably need to think about that. I've been intentional in making sure I'm not using a word that I don't want her to pick up on, or I'm not trying to put out negative energy. But even so, I've just defaulted to a different word. The feeling sometimes is still frustration. Not anger. I've managed to move past anger, but I am still a bit like, oh, that's it. I'll drive for you. Don't you worry. I'll drive on your behalf, because I actually now do something extra because you've made that choice. And it's made me really think through, what am I feeling and what's that taking me back to about what's happened. And what I really like about what you share in the book is it's as important to understand when things are going well as when things are going badly, because we tend not to do that. I don't know if it's just because I'm British, and we can be really good at developmental feedback. We'll tell you exactly where you were, exactly what you were doing, exactly what impact it had. We're all over it. But if we see you doing something well, we'll go, good job, Susanne.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we almost inadvertently are constantly looking only for the problems, because that's the thing that seems to get the most data, the most information. And yet what you're sharing in the book and what you're sharing with us today is it's as important to go to the same level on what's going well if we want to recreate more of what's going well. Have I understood that correctly?
Yeah, perfectly. And it's actually some of the work of David Cooperrider out of Case Western University years ago. He called it appreciative inquiry, where it is, if we, to the extent that we focus on problems, we have a life filled with problems. We can come up problems at the other side to say what's really working, either within an individual, within a team, within an organizational system, or quite frankly, the world. And if we look at that and we start to fan the flame of what's already working well, we can get more of that. And it certainly is an exceptional approach to human beings, because we know this from our own experience. I mean, if people keep telling me what I'm doing wrong, it's incredibly deflating. It doesn't mean that delta feedback isn't important or useful. It's just if that's all that we're getting and that's all that we're doing, we don't create robust cultures. It's not enjoyable to be around. It's not, and having great human relationships either at work or at home. So what we want to do is really learn to pay attention to our emotions. There's such rich place of data of like, what am I feeling? Should I trust this person? I notice that I don't. That's very good information to pay attention to. Both in business and life. And so we really want to pay attention to our emotions as much as we can, so that we can start to learn, like, what is this telling me? How do I manage my emotions? If I pay attention to them and I give them a space, and then when do I need time? Like you just gave a great example. I think one of the things that I've noticed in my 25 years is human beings, especially very successful human beings, are very, very hard on themselves. This human gig is a really hard one. It's a daunting one. And we're so hard on ourselves. Like, I didn't get it right. I don't always get it right. It's you don't have to get it right all the time. I don't get it right. And I teach this. I mean, I've said in the book, like, I don't profess to do any of this well. I just know the work that's ahead. And I love, Kim, your awareness of, you're catching it in the moment so you don't have to apologize after is so profound. It's really hard for me to apologize. I mean, just ask my husband. It feels like a loss, and yet I know I need to do it. I know, and so it is. I want listeners to be easier on themselves. Being a human being is just, it's a daunting endeavor. We know how the story ends. We all grow old and die. I mean, what a terrifying experience this is. So let's just be easier on ourselves. And you don't have to get it right. You're never going to get it right all the time. But you could have moments of like, hey, I did that just a little bit better. That was really hard for me to bite my tongue. Or, that didn't go well, but I am not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to do that. I tried my best. My best was, not super great. But you know what? I'm going to keep walking forward. And sometimes that's all we can do. And it's enough. It is really enough. And if you if you and I watch any movie, when we watch the main protagonist, we have such compassion and empathy for them. We want to turn that towards ourselves. We're watching the movie of our life. There's things coming at us still, illness, divorce, death, poverty, job loss. I mean, wars, it's astronomical. Just be kind to yourself. Please be kind and gentle with yourself. You are here listening. You are doing so much better than you can even imagine.
That is so true, Susanne. And it resonates so much. For me, I see it with my little girl. And I think about how I talk to her versus how I talk to myself. And that's been one of my greatest moments to make a change, because I realize I'm saying something to her, but I'm not saying it to me. And she observes everything you do, say, and are. So if I'm doing and saying something to her that I'm not doing and saying to myself, she spots the disconnect. So I've learned so much more in the last 10 years of being her mum than I did in all of the years beforehand, which was, unless I can show that kindness to myself, I am not allowed to say I'm a kind person.
Yes.
That hurt, because I pride myself on being kind. And when I realized I was no longer allowed to carry that label until I started to be kind to me as well as others, it helped me make a change. Because you're right, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to try and handle. But what I really liked about what you were sharing is you used the term data of information. And actually our emotions are a form of data and information. And the thing we crave is more data, more information. Every business I've ever been to, they want more data, more information. Sometimes they get stuck in that paralysis analysis. I haven't got enough data points. But actually our mistakes are also just data. They teach us something we didn't know before. And so actually they're a good thing. And I think it was Warren Beatty who said that every time you make a mistake or a problem happens, you have to immediately think of 3 positive things. So as an example, the car's broken down. So we're immediately in the space of the car breaking down. He goes, isn't it great that I have a car? Isn't it great that I have somewhere to go to? Isn't it great I've got a phone to bring somebody to help me out in this situation? Because it helps the brain now start to see things that you want instead of things that you don't want, which it strikes me as a lot of around kind of what you share in the book, which is knowing you allows you to bring you to the world, and therefore the world responds in the way you would like it to, because you've gone in first, because everything happens in here before it happens out here, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, and what you've just touched on is so critically important for, there's a term, neuroplasticity. We used to believe that our brains were set by the age of 30. We now know this is not the case, that in fact, the more we think a thought, the more we will think that thought. And it is by repeating a thought that we strengthen in a very real way the neural connection in our brain. So we are literally building our brain each and every day by what we choose to think about. And then it becomes, just a neural connection that is like a superhighway. We don't even have to be present to actually have that thought. And most of us, experience this when we're driving. We get home and we don't even remember how we got home, or we're standing at the fridge and we don't, remember going to the fridge. It's like, why am I standing at the open fridge when I'm not hungry? Because the brain, the instrument has taken over. And so we really want to pay attention to the thoughts that we are thinking, because we are literally building and strengthening our brain in that exact way. So if you want to have a thought, I always get screwed over, then you could keep thinking it. It will become a super highway. It will become so that you don't even question it anymore. It will become your reality, and you will live according to that thought. And then guess what? You will see that everywhere. Just like if I buy a red Miazda, I see a red Miazda everywhere I go. And so start to go, what world do I want to live in? How do I want to think about myself and people? And then the more you choose to think those thoughts, even if they feel kind of phony at first, the more you repeat it, the more it becomes a habit, the more it just becomes a strengthened neural connection in your brain. You'll start to think that without even being aware of it. And then what will happen is that will just be the world that you live in. And that's the most, I think, exciting thing that I can share with anyone here. I had a client that I worked with, and at the tail end of our work, he said, there used to be a lot of jerks in my world. He used a different phrase, but I don't know where they all went. Where did they all go? And it happens in quite short order. As soon as we start to go, no, that the kind of world I want to live in. And it isn't to be, Pollyanna or like overly positive. It's just, right now in the world, there is innovation and excitement, and the world has never been better as far as healthcare and opportunity for most people. It's never been better than it is right now. That's true. The same is true is there's so much poverty. There are wars. AI is terrifying many of us. Both those things are true. Which world do you want to live in? Which one do you want to rehearse daily? Which one is, you can only think so many thoughts per day. Which ones are going to have you enjoy your life, go after your goals and dreams, and have the greatest impact to be great with other people? And your job as a leader is to choose to think those things so you can enjoy your life. And when you enjoy your life, you'll be good for other people because you're good for yourself. So that is the work. And what's really exciting is you don't need anything or anyone to change in order to do it. You can start to do it right today, and it will change in a very short order. And that's what I think is so exciting. It's the, what's our last freedom? The ability to focus on what we're going to choose to focus on.
That makes so much sense. And I'm smiling only because my little girl was here now. She would go, Mummy, you two have clearly spoken before. Because I say it's wrong. If we look for what we look for, we get more of. So if we look for people doing things wrong, we will find lots more things that are going wrong. If we look for things that are going right, then we'll find so many more things that are going right. And it sounds odd, doesn't it? It sounds too simple. And yet it's true, because our brain doesn't understand help and harm. So what we focus on, it doesn't know if we're saying, I don't want this. It just knows we're focusing on it. So it tries to fit more in. And one of the things that I've seen a lot in the work I do, and I'd love to know if you've done the same, is people are really good at what they don't want, but they're not great at knowing what they do want. So we set goals in the negative. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to get old. I don't want to lose this job. I don't want to lose this argument. And all that actually does is drive us towards exactly what we don't want.
Yes. Yeah. The unconscious doesn't register negatives. So we want to flip it every single time to, I would love this conversation to be, fun and rewarding, as opposed to, God, this could go sideways. Or I don't want to lose this business. I really want to add value in this conversation to this potential client. I mean, just, really think about how you want to conceive of things for yourself, because it changes everything. And you said something again so profound. I want to put a pin in it. It sounds so simple. It sounds too simple. And Lao Tzu, ancient Chinese philosopher, I think 15th century, said it exactly that way. My way is so simple, so easy to apply that very few will ever hear it or apply it. It really is this simple. And in some way, it's simple, but it's very hard, because what you're going to have to do is let go of excuses. You're going to have to let go of old thoughts and stories, and you're going to have to actively think something new. And in that way, we almost become somebody new, because we start to think something different. We then feel differently. And based on our thoughts and feelings is how we choose to act out in the world. And then we get different results. It really is it's simple, but it is not easy to do. It takes some focus, some attention. But what's really exciting to me is that it pays off rather quickly. And then it gives us a control that I think many of us are seeking. Is, if all these, it's up to me. How do I want to be? And I get to learn how to control this thing called a human being that is highly emotional, to see if I can become who I believe I am deep within myself, and to show up with a kind of like lightness, funny, humor, connect with other people, make other people feel great, work well with and through them. I mean, then it just becomes more rewarding. And then things happen where, business lands in your lap, or, someone puts your name for it, and it's like, wow, it's all quite magical and fun.
It is always such an absolute joy and delight to talk to you. And I can't believe I've been so engaged in the conversation. And we're sharing on the screen for anybody that's watching us rather than listening. You're able to see how to get hold of Susanne and Susanne's book. And it is definitely worth a read. What I love is that you share such actionable items that we can do right now. So for everybody listening and watching, I hope you have found today's conversation to be as inspiring as I have, and are going to take that action to sit with yourself and just be present. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What do I want to think and feel? Until next time, take care.
Hey, you. Psst. Yes, you. Watching this right now. Are you creating content? A blog, a podcast, a newsletter, going live on Instagram or TikTok, and still not seeing real visibility or growth? Here's why. Anyone can post, anyone can go live, but not everyone is positioned to be taken seriously. Right now, people are going to YouTube to search for experts, for answers, for credibility. So while you're putting in the work, someone else is being seen as the authority. Not because they know more, because they're positioned better. Now imagine this, your own professionally produced TV show, marketed, distributed, optimized with SEO so people can actually find you. Not just seen, but searchable, discoverable, positioned. You're trained, you're coached, you're guided. No experience necessary, but you do have to be coachable, because this is about stepping into a higher level. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing it right. We've already built the platform, 2 YouTube channels, a global audience, a Silver Creator Award. So the question is, how much longer are you going to rely on temporary visibility when you could be building real authority? If you're ready to be seen differently, go to usaglobaltv.com and apply to host your own show. This is for individuals who are serious about investing in their visibility, their credibility, and their growth. If that's you, we're ready. USA Global TV and Radio, where your voice becomes your platform. Executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer, Paul Garcia. Voiceover, Ed Vargas. All rights reserved. This production is the exclusive property of the USA Global TV and Radio and may not be reproduced, distributed, or used without written permission.
My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends, and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
In a world that moves fast, there's strength in the woman who moves with grace. Introducing Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Each piece is intentionally designed for the woman who knows her worth, crafted from luxurious Italian eco-fabrics that feel as good as they look. With elegant coverage, effortless support, and timeless style, our swimwear celebrates both your body and your essence. Founded by fashion expert Carrie Sykes, Bay London is made for women who want to feel sexy, stylish, and seen. From poolside to beachside, sunrise to sunset, Bay London outfits you for every moment that matters. Because beauty isn't about age, it's how you wear your confidence. Bay London, confidence, elegance, effortless luxury. Visit baylondon.com. Act now for your exclusive friends and family discount of $35. Scan the QR code. Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Proud sponsor of USA Global TV and Radio.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? Lowering your price to secure the opportunity? Giving more while receiving less? Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.